Hi, Dan. I thought I would do a video because what's going on in our lives, it is kind of complicated. But I want to, when you work at a hospital, you learn some things that you know that already by your children. But I got to tell you, I do pray every single morning, and I do without fail. I that's my commitment. Ever since I had an accident back in 2010, I had an experience, and I've been praying ever since. What is important to know, and as I said, when during prayer, in maybe a half hour, 40 minutes, whatever, things go on. I don't know how to explain it to you, but thoughts are coming in at times, and I know they're not mine, but something else is going on here. But there's something I learned, and we're going through some stuff right now, and to be honest with you, and I didn't even have to say it. It's going to be bad. It's going to be rough. But how you deal with it and how you define it, that's what has to happen. And I want to tell you, God has one of the greatest tools of all. It's called the law of opposition. What does that mean? You may know it already, but it's opposites. You have day and you have night. You feel love and you feel hate. All the different opposites, and somewhere in the middle is where we define ourselves, who we are. But there are cases like now with what's going on with Trump. You and a majority of people really have an insight of who Donald Trump is and what he's all about, but there are those who don't. They don't have, and when I talk about the law of evolution, you have to know one to know the other. They have a preconceived idea of what Donald Trump's going to be or what's going to happen, but they're going to find out a whole different story. And things are already starting to happen that way. It's been interesting, and you're going through potentially the same thing. I don't know where Social Security is going to go. I don't know what's going to happen with Medicare. All this stuff is being talked about, and I think there are going to be some drastic changes. What has been interesting is TikTok. The amount of people are starting to react. Even some of them, Trumpies, they're beginning to see all that's really going on here. And they're really very disillusioned. And to talk even further, and to me, I don't know how anybody can think. I mean, the first thing is the deporting of all these people, Mexicans. And the question I have in Las Vegas: who's going to do the cleaning in the hotels? Who's going to pick your fruit and your vegetables? I mean, it's so many things, and building homes, they're in there, and it's really going to be just an absolute disaster. The thing that you and I know is one thing about Donald Trump. This whole thing, unfortunately, and I wish I didn't have to say it, it will be based on hate. That's what this is all about, and the second part of it, it's about revenge. That's what Donald Trump is. When he chooses the people he's choosing, it's just crazy who's choosing. But he wants loyalty, and when he says something, he wants them to do it. And that it doesn't make any difference. But he's looking at loyalty. But getting back to the economy, I mean, and then you have the 25% tariff, and then you have Mexico and Canada. I mean, it's just stunning what the repercussions are going to be. You have to know one to know the other. You and I said, many people know who this man really is and what he's about, but there are those, I said before, they have no clue, they don't have an idea, but they have to experience to know one from the other. And then they finally get it. Hopefully. And I think they will. There'll be the hardcore. But I'm not so sure about that either. I don't know, because money talks. And money talks. I'm getting over a cold. I had a bad flu bug, so I'm losing my voice a little bit. But it's complicated, Diane, and it really is, to be honest with you, it's going to be bad. I wish I didn't have to tell you that. The other part of my job, being on I kid you not, I never thought in my entire life I'd be doing any of this, but I am. I deal with evil. Things go on during the evil. I mean, sometimes even in this hospital, the nurses come up to me and they have a very, very bad feeling. So they ask me to go to a certain room, and I sit in there, and I do pray for, whatever, maybe a half hour. And I sit in there. But I talk to the spirits, I kid you not. And you know, the one thing I've learned in this hospital, if you teach the spiritual realm, if you respect them, they show respect back. You got a few that don't, but it's interesting about what goes on here. But evil, it really is, and I've gotten to know evil. I've gotten to know, and there's more to this story, but I'm not going to get into it now. But part of my job is I go into and literally cleaning out spirits, you know. And so far, you know, it has worked. And actually, in pediatrics, they were having a serious problem there, and I got in there and just sat. It was almost an hour. Just start talking. And I know there was an audience there. You can't see them. They can see us, though, but we can't see them. It's just really stunning. But anyway, you know, there's a lot going on here, and we're going to go through some real stuff. But it depends on how you look at it. The other thing, too, Diane, is I think at a certain point, there's going to be rebellion like no other. The one thing that we know, the most important thing that we know freedom. Plain and simple. We were born into freedom. We were born with the Constitution. We were born with the Supreme Court. All the stuff that we were born into, we know freedom. And even the people that are, even for Trump, at some point, their freedom is going to be, it's going to be really terrible for them. And they're going to see people pulled away. I mean, we're going to see that on television. But the one thing I will tell you, too, and be ready for this, too, is the revenge. That is going to be something else. And I wish I had better news. But as what I pointed out to you is that we're ahead of the game. You know, and things are going to go on. My feeling is I'm taking care of number one, my family. I'm doing B, Plan A, you know, all the stuff that I'm trying to do. And even I took an equity loan out of the house to have some extra cash. Just something to fall back on, you know, some money. And but you got to think ahead. You got to think about your family. You got to think, and that's what I'm doing, taking care of number one and my family, my wife. And things are going on with that too. And I'll do that another. But she is Cuban, and she's been here. And she was born in Havana, and she's been living here since the 1960s. And so, but her family are terrified, and I'm terrified. To be honest with you, I'm terrified that my wife will be taken away. It's a terrible fear. I don't think it's going to happen, you know, really. It's going to take some time, maybe here down the road. But that's my fear. And I kind of said that to you. My mouth is real dry, so it takes certain medicine right now, and my mouth is really dry. Things are going on, Diana. But there is a very, very big picture. And I will tell you something else, and I'm going to take you to the ozone. I'm going to take you up there. Things I learned. You existed before you were born. And I don't know if you're ready for this, but you didn't have a body. You were a sphere of consciousness. You. And God created you. He created you in existence. He really took some time creating you, Diane. I kid you not. He was really thinking how, you know, what is Diane going to be? And he put that consciousness into the sphere, and that's you. But you decided to come down and you made some powers that be, and you know, talking and finding out. Everybody was curious about the earthly realm, the physical realm, having a physical body, and they call it, believe it or not, a vehicle. I was just taken aback by that, but that really is. It's a vehicle. It's just your soul's in here, but as soon as you pass away, it goes back, and we go back to to the heavenly kingdom. Back home, where it all began. But the thing I was going to try to point out to you, the powers that be, before you were born, they asked you one of the most important questions of all. Are you sure you want to do this? And here we are. And here we are. It's important to know this, Diane. You made a decision. I made a decision. All these people out there made a decision because they asked that question to everybody. Are you sure you want to do this? And here we are. I'm going to close with that. You're going to be okay, Diane. Your family's going to be okay, but you got to think ahead. You got to get a plan A, plan B, Just what may, and you can hear the cough, is pretty deep. But you just get prepared, and you're just going to have to write it out. And it's going to be rough. But I said before, what is interesting is TikTok and the other social networks. It really, people are waking up, and I think Donald Trump is going to have, other countries. You see that just recently, I think I don't know, Syria was overthrown, and people just rebelled, and I think that's what's going to happen here. I think something is going to be just huge. I think the masses. There are 350 million of us. And you give 50, 60 million to Donald Trump, but the rest of it is ours. It's ours. And so, I think that, how long it will be, when is the point of they just can't do anymore. They can't take it anymore. That's the point. I don't know. But as I said, the most important thing that makes it very different, we know true freedom. We were born into it. We didn't even give it a thought about freedom. And you're going to find out Donald Trump, he's going to start putting the brakes on freedom. It's going to be stunning what's going to go on. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope to God I am wrong. But the other thing, too, I'm beginning to see the Senate and Congress, they want their power, too. So I think, there's going to be some stuff going on there. And you have to know one to know the other. You have to know that's the big plan. It is about experience. It is what we go. And the other thing, you've heard the phrase, the greatest challenge you learn the most. You find out who you really are, who I really am, what we're really truly made of. That's God's plan is who you are. Who are you? What are you really truly made of? And all these things are happening, and you know the phrase too. It's not what you say; it's what you do that defines you. You know that. Anyway, Diane, I want to do a video, and I'm noticing the time. Jeez, I'm talking. But anyway, I want to do this video, and I thought I'd just share it with you. And then, but Dan, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. So is your family, but you got maneuvering. Planning out, planning A, planning B, planning C, and we got our passports in case we have to. We can get back out. It might be very tough to get out, but we can get out. We got passports. And if I see something going on with my wife, and I fear something really could happen, I'm going to get her out of here. I can tell you that we may have to move to a foreign country, whatever it takes. That's what's going on. We all have a journey, Diane. Each and every one of us have a journey. And they asked you in the beginning, as I said before, are you sure you want to do this? It's all in here, Diane. That's the thing about all this that I'm talking about. The knowledge that you have before you were born is all in there. But you have to be a newborn into this earth to really truly experience the physical realm. All that goes with it. I mean, emotions and everything that is, everything that you're a part of it all. But in the physical realm, you have a body. Yep, this is it, the body. I mean, it's pretty. There's a big picture, Diane, and that's sometimes. And the other thing too, I would recommend is faith. And I got dry mouth. Is faith, and faith on it. You have to have faith. In being a chaplain, I learned some things about God. I really did. I've learned some things, and He's taught me some things too, good things and bad things. I've been through some stuff being a chaplain, things that have gone on, and you learn a lot. But I'm able to pull out and see a much big picture. And then we're in this realm, we're in this, and we signed up for it. Bottom line, yeah, we're here. We're experiencing. It's all about knowledge. God created us for two reasons. One is that relationship with you. It means everything to Him. But you have free will. You choose. But having that relationship with him with you, and you with him, to be honest with you, once you're put in existence, it's for all eternity. It never ends now. So this is one aspect of this lifetime, whatever you go through. It's just one aspect, because we're for all of eternity. You're with him with you. You're always with him. But each time you're going through stuff, you get more. You're getting more knowledge. You're getting more. And what God wants is to kind of, because of all the knowledge you're gaining, you're getting closer to him. The second reason is to experience his knowledge. Everything that is, Diane, everything that you see, every emotion, all the stuff that goes on, that's what he's doing, is experiencing his knowledge. And that's the only best way I can tell it. I mean, it sounds cold, but it's not. There's just more to this picture. Anyway, 15 minutes, enough. But I just wanted to tell you, and we can talk further. I think it's important to talk by phone. I think during some of these times, I think it's important. And you and I have known each other for a long time. Many, many moons. I think about that too. But I've got things I have to worry about with my wife. I got to take care of her. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close. I appreciate, and Diane, we're going to get through this. And I think we're going to see some pretty amazing things. We're going to see the true nature of all of us. We know freedom, as I said before. We know freedom. Amen. We'll just talk further, okay? But we'll get through it. Take care, Diane. I appreciate it. Thanks for just watching this video. Thanks again.